meeting of Morrisville Borough Council to order at 7:30 p.m. Today's January 19th, 2016. We'll start the meeting with a moment of silent prayer, followed by pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now may we have a roll call?
Yes. Abe Ravella.
Here.
Vic Cicero.
Here.
Greg Kerner.
Here.
Corinne Chronicle.
Here.
Danielle Larison.
Here.
Ted Parker.
Here.
Bill Pepitone.
Here.
Todd Sanford.
Here.
Debbie Smith.
Here.
Now we will have special presentations, beginning with 4A. Presentation by Kurt Schroeder of Gilmore & Associates, Engineering Firm.
Excuse me 1 minute. And Ann Zuckerman.
Good evening, everyone. Kurt Schroeder with Gilmore & Associates. I wanted to first take the opportunity to thank everyone. We're real happy to be here and happy for the opportunity to partner with Morrisville. With me tonight is Samantha Brinker in the audience, and there's no better way to put it other than she's my right hand at the office. So we had a little technical difficulties with getting our laptops synced in, but I believe you each have a copy of our presentation. What we wanted to do tonight is just give you a little introduction to our company and what we do and what we'd like to do as partners in Morrisville. But we are a full-service planning and engineering company, and we have approximately 150 employees over 5 separate office locations, and we represent more than 75 municipalities. We continually rank in the top regional engineering consulting firms in Philadelphia, and we have over 40 years of municipal experience, and that includes 43 consecutive years with our oldest municipal client, which is the Borough of Hatboro, and 35 years with the Borough of Doylestown. With our suite of services that we provide, we do a lot of different things customary to what a borough like Morrisville will want and need, and that includes grant writing. We've been very successful in writing grants and obtaining grants and administering grants for a lot of our clients. We provide water and wastewater services. We have registered landscape architects who help us with park designs and preparing other exhibits that you may be familiar with. We can talk about that a little later. We have geographic information systems, which we incorporate as often as we can, whether our clients realize it or not. And that includes mapping your infrastructure and databasing improvements that you've made. So things that you may not realize that's going on in the shadows is we may keep track of where all your roads are, how many roads you have, when they've received maintenance, if that information gets sent to us. And it's good data that you can use to help program planning, what you need to do and want to do as far as capital budgets and improvements go. We also inventory applications that come in, and we'll actually gather that information, store it so it's readily available, and that comes useful in time when maybe a neighboring property needs or wants some information. We can pull it right up using our GIS system that we've developed. We're experts in stormwater management. We provide public infrastructure planning and design services. We have structural and forensic services for any kinds of structural bridge or buildings. We also provide construction oversight and inspection work, and what we've done, which has been very successful recently, is we've included the use of mobile tablets for our field staff. So no longer do we need to rely on sharing paper copies, but we can pull up all of our project information using 4G technology right in the field, which of course has the GPS capabilities and other emails and data sharing that we can tie together. We produce all our daily field reports right in the field. It gets emailed back and stored on our servers. We do land surveying. We do traffic and transportation services, environmental services, and geotechnical services. Some of the highlights of what we've done as municipal engineers is we've helped obtain more than $24 million for our clients as part of grant funds. And we've designed and implemented those projects. We understand how the agencies work, how the money gets transferred through the government entities, and how to help to champion those projects on behalf of and alongside of the borough and its council. We do a lot of water wastewater projects, and we're involved in upgrading treatment plants. We were involved in the County Line Road transition for Bucks County Water Sewer Authority, which was an 8-mile project down County Line Road in Bucks County and Montgomery County. And it was a very complex project that was ahead of schedule and under budget throughout. We do a lot of landscape architectural services, and in fact, we've started taking our work to the city of Philadelphia, and they've hired us in the last few years. We've already gotten open-end contracts with the Streets Department and Department of Public Property, and more recently the Philadelphia Water Department. And for the public property, we've actually designed award-winning playgrounds, and they're very context sensitive for the different communities for which we design them for. And so we're very proficient in the different design standards and safety features that go along with the design of parks. I won't go through all of these in too much detail, but a couple other things I wanted to point out. Let's skip ahead to some of our local experience. Some of you may be aware of some of the projects we've worked on locally. We've been in Bristol Borough. I've been in Bristol Borough for about 10 years now. And in Bristol Borough, we've accomplished a tremendous amount. We've paved all of their roads and brought all of their road infrastructure to a state of good repair. And that was done through a very large-scale comprehensive road paving project that used the annual liquid fuels fund to float the bond that's paid off over 15 years. And we reserved some of that money to make sure that we could do ongoing maintenance that's needed. And a lot of that maintenance work's done in-house. We took that same road program and we've applied it in Bristol Township, and they've spent more than $14 million since 2012 using a similar type of a program there. And again, it's all done using GIS with our field inspectors doing the construction observation on that work. In Bristol Borough as well, we helped them upgrade every one of their traffic signals, and we did that by leveraging 3 different, maybe 4 different grants against one another, because you often have to find a match fund for a grant, and we were successful in finding that so that they had to not dip into any of their local funding, except maybe for the grant applications itself. We also are involved, or were involved, with the redevelopment of their public works facility, and again, that utilized approximately $2.5 million worth of grant funding from various sources, federal and state, and then they were able to use some of their local funds through their water and sewer authority to finance the rest. And we took a deplorable building that had a solid waste pile in the back of it that was in a floodplain and flooded frequently, and we were able to redevelop that site and create a really beautiful building for them now that meets all of their needs in a centralized location. And most recently, and it's still in the works, is we're working with the borough to implement a boat dock project down along their wharf. That's a very high profile project. We had a little hiccup when we started, and we didn't do the design of it, but we sort of facilitated the implementation of the project. But we had a little hiccup in the costs when the design fully came to fruition, to realize how much ice, and you guys could have told us how much ice comes down the river and how big these columns needed to be in this 150-foot dock that extended into the river. But we're very optimistic that when the budget does get passed, hopefully it has some funding in there that'll close the gap that we have, and hopefully then we can take that shovel-ready project and see it get built the next year or so. So we've had a lot of success there. We're working locally also in Bristol Township, as I mentioned, and most recently now in Tullytown Borough. So we have a nice presence in this region, as well as in Bucks and Montgomery and Philadelphia counties. So questions, certainly be happy to answer any tonight. If not, we're very excited to be here and look forward to working with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for coming out. It's always nice to have a face to go with your name. And I certainly was aware of some of the good work that you've done in Bristol, like I said, a high profile. I'm curious though if you have sent a fee schedule in, because it seems like nobody sort of knows your rates. And I'm not trying to question you on the rates or how they work. So I do have one question. When hopefully we're involved with a nice project and someone comes to explain it and answer questions, how does that work? Is that like an hourly fee or is that just part of the project?
Yeah, we work on an hourly fee schedule, as most of our competitors do. And we did recently provide a fee schedule to you, and we're happy to answer any questions about that. Our rates are very competitive, and we try to be as efficient as we can. We have a graduated rate schedule for all different types of staff and services, and we try to put the most cost-effective individuals on each assignment for whatever projects we're working on. And, we usually work within budgets. You say you have X amount of dollars or we want to go accomplish Y, what will it take to do that? And, we represent 75 municipalities. We rarely have issues with their costs or fees, and we try to do a great job for you and deliver good results.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure we'll get that fee schedule too. I don't think it's been distributed yet.
If I could just say, I've actually looked at your company the last couple of years in some of the projects, and I was very impressed with the work you've done. And so I'm really glad you're on board with this. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are we going to go ahead with 4B?
Can I have the floor for just a second? I'm sorry, I lose my voice. If I could, in the new business tonight, I'd like to add a motion to the agenda. A motion to authorize the manager to receive proposals for audit of borough funds for year 2015. Scope of work to include a management report. I'll give you a copy. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Next, we have 4B, an announcement of certificate of recognition from the U.S. Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Investigation for Chief George McClay.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm honored to share the good news regarding actually two members of the Borough Emergency Services who recently received recognition. Our very own Chief McClay has been given a certificate of recognition from the FBI when George was the lieutenant in charge of the Northwest Detective Special Investigation Unit. He and other detectives worked on a case involving a church fire. Due to their findings, the FBI took over and it led to the arrest and conviction of several involved in arson and related federal crimes that had taken place in Philadelphia. So congratulations to Chief McClay. And also I'd like to recognize Chief Brian Eckert from the Morrisville Ambulance Squad. Brian recently received an Emergency Medical Technician Award, a special recognition of exemplary service to humanity by administering emergency medical assistance from the Department of Veterans of Foreign Wars in the United States. So also congratulations to Chief Eckert.
Thank you, Dave. Now we have the hearing of the public. First up is Mike Yeager.
Hi everyone, Mike Yeager, 338 Melvin Court North. So I just want to touch base on a couple things that I heard at the agenda meeting last week. Ted Parker had brought up something to the effect of he wants to see controls put on resident-driven beautification projects. And true enough, nobody wants people running crazy doing whatever they want on public grounds, right? My concern is we want to hold people to a standard. We want to hold residents to a standard, but I'm not seeing that within the borough. And here's what I mean. Right back here behind me, we still have Christmas decorations out from Winterfest that we haven't put away. I was here last week, there was a pile of them still back here, so some of them got put away. But we're asking our residents to be held accountable, right, but we're not holding ourselves accountable internally, and I'm not sure why that is. So before we go making any rules about how we're gonna manage those things, we really need to look internally and say, how are we managing ourselves, right? Because if we're gonna put those responsibilities on an individual, or those expectations on an individual that's donating their time for the beautification of this town, we should probably hold the people accountable that we're paying for the same thing, right? So I wanted to touch base with that. Also, Mr. Subi, you had mentioned, and this goes right along with it, that you had had some conversations with the leader of Raise the Bar, which there are a lot of people that are aware of that movement. It is a resident-driven movement. The residents work alongside, in a lot of cases, with the borough workers. Mr. Subi, I would ask you, if at some point, real soon, you can get together with the folks that have appointed you, because I know that you have a connection there. I know you go back with these folks a little bit. If you can explain to the folks who've appointed you how important that is, how it benefits us financially, how much better the relationship between the borough and its residents can be. All these things tie right into, if we have the attitude of, I'm gonna keep you from doing things, that's what you're gonna get, people who don't wanna do things. Now, I can tell you that the people that are part of this movement, and there's a long list of people that within the borough really wanna see things change and wanna be a part of that, they are resolved. They're not going away. We hear a lot about working together. That's not a couple of words, working together. It's something we need to physically do. So I'm asking you guys to get yourselves together, whether it's here or in separate meetings, and really figure out the plan. Because I heard it said, and it's true enough, that if we go and do these things, well, there's a chance they don't get maintained. That's why we need a schedule. So if there's projects that any organization or group of people have done in town that need to be maintenance yearly or quarterly or whatever that looks like, we need to see a schedule. There are so many people within town that will volunteer to help that we're not utilizing because we're too worried, in my opinion, about who's gonna get the credit for it, rather than just doing what's right for the town. So I'm asking you guys to actually work together, please, and get this going, because we need to work borough and residents together. Otherwise, I don't see all the talk about working together ever getting us anywhere. We have to stop talking about it and start actually doing it. Thank you.
Next, we have Kurt Holtenrich. Is that close enough, or is that?
That's good, that's good. Good evening, everyone. I'm just one of the many people with nothing else better to do with their day than come to meetings. And, you know, it's pathetic. A couple of questions I had about this, reading this article that was in the Courier Times was who's who in Bucks County, basically. It listed every township and borough manager, council, or whoever's running or in office, and every single one had a list of what solicitor charged. And I know they're coming on board, they're new, but what the engineers charge. Theirs was printed for where they're in Bristol Borough, I think $148 an hour, but ours was lawful standoffish. It was, they were told, Bucks County Courier Times, were our manager, to get a right to know, to find out something that's very public. That's not working together and being, I guess, clear and, without veil, so to speak. To tell the Courier Times, get a right to know, see what we're paying our solicitor and our engineer, that's kind of rude. They're the paper, you want to have a relationship with them. Offering that information wasn't a problem. So, I don't know what that rate is, but how can you have hired this engineering firm if everyone you up there didn't already have the rate fee? How does our mayor ask that question and he wasn't already given, before you hired this engineering firm, their rate schedule? That's not good. And they're a good firm, I'm not doubting that. But to be that clueless, so how much we're paying them already, and you're the mayor, council, president, did not know that's pretty embarrassing. And to build on Mr. Yeager, there are people that want to work in the borough, that are spending their own money to make things look nice, that want more. Actions out of spite will not get things fixed. Removing signs or making comments about how a tree is a Republican tree or anything like that, that was for everyone. People drove through town, and to have had comments made about a donated tree that looked great, that even went down here and took pictures of it because you liked it. Everyone liked it. We need more of that. We don't need ordinances preventing residents from doing work in the borough. We need ordinances to enhance residents' ability to work within the borough, to make things nicer, clean things up, because it helps everybody. It makes our property values go up. It makes people proud to live here. Maybe people will stay longer when they have young children instead of being afraid of the school district and moving out. Maybe they'll stay, keep their kids here for 20 years, retire here maybe, instead of a high constant turnover. We need that type of effort. Good night.
We have Bill Farrell.
Bill Farrell, 347 North Pennsylvania Avenue. I was at the reorganization meeting. I didn't speak. The only reason why I didn't speak is because I wanted to see where the ducks were on the pond, which is related to the voting. So I know where we're at now. I wasn't surprised. At least one thing at that meeting, you removed the appointments, which are on the agenda tonight. I thought that was a smart move because you had people just coming in, had no clue as to what's going on. They're new and they hadn't had the information. And I think the stuff came up at 7:30 that night. I hope in future you will make sure that everybody is alerted and given all the proper information to deal with these things. Unfortunately, in the past, that seems to be the problem. Too many things are being done at last minute. I'm not saying things don't have to be something, but almost everything that goes on, it's a last minute deal. And at that point in time, everybody's not acquainted with what's going on. So I think it would behoove you people to make sure everybody's aware, and use a time frame where you start doing your budget and having it set for a good time so you can get it together. A couple other things. I watched, there was 3 people spoke at that meeting. There was, I won't mention names, but I noticed when the first person spoke, everybody was looking to see what was going on. When the second person came up here to spoke, I also watched. I'm watching you. I'm not a private eye, but I watch you. And some people had their heads down. The third person spoke, the heads were down still. At least be courteous enough to look somebody in the face. If you're displeased with me, that's okay. Put your head down. It doesn't bother me. I just think it's rude and ignorant to do something like that. Like I said, a lot of times I speak, some of you people don't listen to me. That's all right. You'd be surprised because I sit here a lot of times and people speak. I'm not listening to you, so we're equal. So at least be courteous to people. I watched a video from 12:31 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It started, and the ex-president talked about heroes and drama at the meetings. I'm no hero. I don't even know why those terms were used, but a lot of that was created by the atmosphere when people came to speak and nobody answered questions. I know you don't have to answer the questions. I've said that numerous times. It doesn't bother me. I'll ask it again and again. I'm persistent. That's who I am. And the other thing, if I get out of order, use the gavel, I'll sit down and be quiet. I don't have a problem with that. But if somebody up there gets out of order, which has been going on for a number of years, use the gavel and tell them to be quiet. They're no better than me because they're an elected official. Robert's Rules of Order applies to everybody. do it and do it right. But don't gavel me and then let somebody else up there start making with the noise. And it's been going on. And if anybody up there denies it, see me afterwards, I'll give you your name. The other thing is, I heard talk with these gentlemen about working together. I wish, it's only a wish, that people would put aside their party affiliates and vote for what's good for everybody in Morrisville. Stop voting party lines. That's why we're at in this whole country. Party lines have done a lot of damage to this people. Whether you're a D or an R, you have to decide what's best for everybody, not just what's good for you, and what's good for your counterparts. You have to do that. And maybe if you do that, we can move forward and can accomplish some things. Because lately we haven't been accomplishing anything but creating chaos. And last but not least, we just got over an election in November. I want the people of Morrisville to be aware and watch how your voting goes on the projects and everything that goes. And remember, in 2 years, there'll be another election. I'll be reminding you that up until that election day, off and on. That's the time when you have to decide whether you want to stay where you're at or move forward. I've heard people saying, oh, we're moving forward. I'm standing in the same spot I was 4 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm still in the same spot. I haven't moved forward. If anybody thinks they're moving forward sometimes, you're in Shangri-La. That's Neverland. And last thing, sorry. Mr. Subi, I met you in your other capacity. I really don't know very much about you, which is nothing against you. But I wish you luck. But I just want you to know that I got to know Mr. Bates very well. And if I will judge you on my standards. And if I have a problem with you, I'll come and see you. I won't go on Facebook. I won't send you an email because I don't believe in that. I believe you gotta look the guy in the eye and tell him what you think. And like I said, I wish you luck. And I'll say time will tell. So remember what I said. Work together. Make Morrisville a better place. Because politics in this town are killing everybody. Not only there, but in the country and all over. Thank you.
Next we have Debbie Colgan.
Hi, good evening. I'm Debbie Colgan, 120 West Hendrickson Avenue. I'm here on behalf of the Morrisville Environmental Advisory Council. And I'd like to read a memo that we've actually written up for council, so if I could give you guys a copy. Since 2010, the Morrisville EAC has acted as project coordinator for the Morrisville Riverfront Preserve, a Morrisville Borough project. The EAC prepared a number of grant applications on behalf of the borough. One of the most recent tree planting projects in 2014 was for the planning, purchase, and planting of 240 trees and tree protection. This project came to fruition through efforts by the EAC with administrative assistance from the borough. We were informed by borough administration that because the total cost of the project was over $19,000, bid advertising would be necessary. The EAC provided all of the information to the borough regarding the project, and Borough Administration performed all of the necessary work to bid the project out. There was no discussion with the EAC of unbudgeted significant costs associated with this bid advertising. The EAC has carefully budgeted all items for each grant. We knew how much money we had and how much each item would cost. In addition to grant funds, the Preserve Fund included $800 in private donations dedicated to future borough projects. Many months later, when the project was complete, we were informed that $514 had been removed from our earmarked money to pay for bid advertising. The EAC had to quickly budget for the next project that was already in progress, and luckily the contractor donated work so this second project could still be completed. The grants we have received do not allow administrative costs to be covered by the grant. For example, costs such as legal review by the solicitor, deed recording fees, postage, bid advertising, etc., cannot be charged to the grants. The borough is expected by funders to be invested in their own projects by taking responsibility for excluded costs such as bid advertising. Unfortunately, the borough management allocated most of the private donation money for the payment of the advertising fees, rather than for additional improvement to the preserve. The EAC is a borough committee whose work on the preserve has been approved by council. We are not a private 501c3 organization who can receive tax-deductible donations. The Morrisville Riverfront Preserve is solely a borough project, for which the borough has received acclaim and kudos throughout the region. The EAC respectfully requests that the council reimburse the Preserve Fund for the advertising fee. This isn't money that will leave the borough. It is $514 of private donation money that will be put towards improvement of borough property. This money will provide much-needed funding for native plant seed and improvement for the Riverfront Preserve, which was planned for 2016. To date, the EAC has saved the project many costs associated with grant preparation and project management. Keep in mind that the EAC also wrote and completed the open space plan, saving the borough between $7,000 and $10,000. The open space plan has paved the way for both the dog park and the MR Rider acquisition, and it provides the foundation for future borough projects and grant applications. Again, the EAC respectfully requests that council engage in a discussion of this matter and then reimburse the Preserve Fund for the advertising fee so that this money may be used to further improve the Riverfront Preserve. Thank you.
Next, we have Ivan Shepelenko.
Yes, good evening. Ivan Shepelenko, 209 South Belmore Avenue. I'm right around the corner. My main beef is with the growth of the jungle in front of the house between Route 1 and the railroad bridge. I bought a house there in '98, had a nice park. I love the river view. I liked it so much I put a bigger window in it, 5x7, so I could see the river. They had bridge construction from 2006 to 2009. When the company came in, they took a lot of trees down, the bad trees, the ugly trees. Some were blown down by hurricanes and storms. When the bridge, Route 1 construction was completed, the park disappeared. Took the sign down and let the jungle just grow. I think it was cut down twice. Now it's over 8 foot high, you can't see anything. On the other side of the bridge, we have a dog park. Well maintained, manicured, nice lawn all the way down to Delmore before you turn Philadelphia Avenue. And across the street, that was bad too several years ago. They cut some trees down. It's well maintained, the grass is cut, it looks pretty. You go on my street, too high, looks ugly, should be taken care of. Keep Morrisville beautiful. Let's see what else. Sunday, August 30th last year, 10 o'clock, the whole street lit up. There's police, ambulance, fire company, and rescue squads. I went outside with a neighbor. They're looking for a woman that was in the river. Rescue squad is running around with flashlights trying to get through the jungle. They couldn't get through. 15 minutes later, the girl saw the lights. She come out of the water, come through the woods, and onto was a police officer. They cuffed her and took her away. So I would say it's a public safety issue. There's a lot of fishermen there, and I've seen several rescue attempts there for people falling out of boats, this and that. But I'm just wondering if there's any way we can cut that jungle down and keep it down. I'm not asking for grass and flowers. I just want keep it low. It's horrible. If you get a chance, riding around Morrisville, just take a ride past my house, look towards the river. You'll see what I mean. Right now, all the leaves are off. Summertime, it's full. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you describe exactly where the property is? Is it along the river's edge?
I believe it's
Between Route 1 and Railroad Bridge. Toll Bridge is between the bridges. There's 4 homes there.
I think that may be Amtrak property.
I don't
You
think
called
it's
the
borough
borough.
property, but.
You did call the borough and speak to Mr. Siller, correct?
No, I talked to you at election day.
Right, and I
Years
asked,
ago.
I asked Bob about it, I thought that you had spoken to him. I believe that's Amtrak property. Oh, he's coming out.
Yeah, it couldn't be Amtrak property. It's 19067 zip code. It's the same zip code.
No, I know. He knows more, he knows
Okay,
better than
remember I
I.
stopped at the house and talked to you?
Yeah.
Okay. That is not borough property. We cannot go on property that is not owned by the borough. The other property that we did adjacent to the dog park, that is still not borough property, it's owned by the Army Corps of Engineers. It cost us money to go to Bucks County Conservation and resolve this situation for cleaning up trash and cutting down trees. For us to go on property that is not the borough's, number one, we have to get approval from whoever owns the property. We would have to go to Bucks County Conservation to make sure that what we're doing is approved by them before we touch anything and cut anything down. DEP is very aggressive on what you're touching, especially near the river.
But it was taken care of
It was
earlier.
taken care of by an unknown individual that did it until the Bridge Commission started working on it, and then everybody dumped all their stuff there, and nobody could, the individual that donated his time to do that could not get there in order to maintain the property. Once the project was done, and it did grow up, for anybody to go back on there, we have to get the proper approvals from all the organizations before we go back on that property. Unfortunately, this is what we have with the regulations.
Has anything been attempted to contact these organizations about it and the problem, or say that it's a safety issue, so has anyone
It's
been
not our
contacted?
property, it should either be the Bridge Commission or the railroad that should be addressing these concerns,
What
which
I'm saying
we
though,
brought to them,
oh, you did, okay.
and they just, they said, yeah, okay, that they'll look into it. Amtrak is, which we know is not gonna maintain anything that's not on their right-of-way, which is fenced. That bridge and the property there goes back to the Pennsylvania Railroad, which is the 1900s.
Just amazed that nobody can get them to make a move. I mean, when was the last time they were contacted about it?
What are we gonna make them move on?
Well, you sent them a letter or something and they just never addressed
We
it?
spoke with the Bridge Commission, we spoke with the railroad representatives.
And
As far as they're concerned, it's the land that is open space adjacent to the river, and that's the way they would like to leave it.
they don't want to do anything with
We
it?
don't, correct, we don't have the authority to make them do it, especially because you're that close to the waterway, that we should now be, that should fall under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps of Engineers, because it's tidal water.
Okay. Wow.
It's a very, very complicated web along the riverfront, which I'm sure everybody is aware of. I mean, I wish we could, but I mean, unfortunately, if we go in there and we start cutting things down and we get a notice of violation, it comes to the borough regardless of whose property it is, if it's our personnel. We went down that road on the other thing, and we were almost fined $10,000 for cleaning up the property of trash and debris. That's why we're very hesitant about going anywhere near the waterways.
Mr. Shepelanka, have you attempted to write your own letter of discontent to these organizations to tell them and your view on that?
I don't know who to contact.
Is he able to get that, Bob? Where he would send that to, his own request on that to them, and what his issues are with it? And maybe he can get an answer from them
You
directly?
just go to the Bridge Commission, you know, everybody's, the Bridge Commission says it's not theirs, Amtrak says it's not theirs. They're saying that it's the responsibility of the Army Corps of Engineers because they own so much property from the water's edge up. So, I mean, you know, everybody, I mean, you know, he can just go up, you know, to the office and ask, I'm sure they have a form there that they can make out and let somebody look into it.
I would attempt that. If that was me, I'd be up there.
All right.
I'd take some pictures and I'd go up there.
All right, thank you.
We move on to 6 now, the approval of minutes. We have 2 pieces of minutes up for discussion. The regular Borough Council meeting of December 21st, 2015, and the special Borough Council meeting of December 31st, 2015. We take them together or individually?
I think individually because some people were on council and some weren't here for the meeting, so you might want to do them individually.
So first we'll go with the regular Borough Council meeting of December 21st, 2015. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Changes? All those in favor of accepting those minutes? I guess we'll do a roll call, since not everyone's here at the time.
Mr. Kerner?
Yes.
Mrs. Chronicle?
Yes.
Mrs. Larison?
I'm going to abstain from this because I was not on council at the time.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Pepperell?
I will abstain as well, I was not here.
Mr. Sanford?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr.
Sorry.
Mr. Cicero?
I should say no. Yes.
I was just going alphabetically. So the motion passes 6-0 with 2 abstentions. Next, we have the special Borough Council meeting of December 31st, 2015. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Again, made by Ted, seconded by Corinne. Any discussion or changes on these minutes?
Mr. Cicero?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mrs. Chronicle?
Yes.
Mrs. Larison?
Abstain.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Pepperell?
Abstain.
Mr. Sanford?
Abstain.
Mrs. Smith?
Abstain, I was on vacation.
Same thing for me.
An abstention is a no vote, so you're voting no.
Yeah, you weren't, I'm here, yeah.
Even
So how many?
We have 4 yeses and 4 abstentions.
I'll vote yes.
Yes. Okay. So that was a 4-4 tie, and the mayor broke in the affirmative. Next, we have 7 reports, starting with the manager's report.
We just have a couple things. We just had our borough insurance renewed, and just wanted to inform council that we did have a 3% increase. And basically, with the insurance, the borough itself came through fine with the insurance. However, due to our liability, that was the reason they declared that they would increase it by 3%. Apparently, we have lawsuits out there that put us in a situation where the insurance would